The crisp autumn air carried a blend of cinnamon, roasted chestnuts, and the faint, earthy scent of fallen leaves. Emma pulled her scarf tighter around her neck as she stepped onto the festival grounds, the colors of red, gold, and amber shimmering under the soft sunlight. The annual Autumn Festival was one of her favorite places, a vibrant chaos of laughter, music, and the warm smell of baked goods. Yet this year, she felt an unusual flutter of anticipation, a curious excitement she couldn't quite explain. She wandered past booths decorated with hand-carved pumpkins and twinkling fairy lights, her eyes lingering on small trinkets and artisan crafts. That's when she saw him. He was arranging a display of wooden figurines at a small booth tucked between the apple cider stand and a pottery tent. The way he worked, carefully positioning each piece, made him seem completely absorbed in the moment, yet entirely unaware of the world around him. Emma found herself pausing, intrigued by the quiet intensity in his movements. For a moment, she wondered if she should keep walking, not wanting to appear obvious. But something drew her closer. Maybe it was the warmth in his smile as he looked up and noticed her watching, or the curious sparkle in his eyes. "Hi," he said, his voice soft but confident. "Do you like these?" He gestured toward the miniature wooden animals, each carved with delicate precision. Emma smiled nervously, feeling her heartbeat quicken. "They're beautiful. You made them yourself?" He nodded, a small, proud smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, it's my passion. I love crafting things with my hands. Helps me focus." I love it," she stammered, suddenly aware of how awkward she must sound. "It's so detailed, like you put a little piece of yourself into each one." He chuckled, a sound that made her feel unexpectedly at ease. "I guess I do. I like people to feel the care in what I make. I'm Emma, by the way." Her pulse skipped. "Emma," she repeated, tasting the name. "I'm Emma too," she added quickly, realizing she had almost whispered it like a secret. He tilted his head, amused. "Well, Emma, it's nice to meet you. Would you like to help me arrange some of these for the display?" A flutter of excitement ran through her. It was strange, yet comforting, that he asked her to join him. She nodded eagerly, and as they worked side by side, arranging tiny wooden foxes and owls, conversation flowed effortlessly. They laughed at small mistakes, shared stories about their favorite crafts, and even discovered mutual tastes in books and music. By the time the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Emma felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't expected. It wasn't just the crisp air or the festive lights, it was him, his presence, his kindness, and the ease with which he made her feel seen. As the festival lights began to twinkle brighter, he paused and looked at her, the glow reflecting in his eyes. "I'd love to see you again. Can I have your number?" Her hands trembled slightly as she handed him her phone, but she managed a confident smile. "I'd like that," she said. And in that fleeting moment, Emma realized something profound. Sometimes, the smallest encounters could change the course of your life entirely. The next morning, Emma woke up with a lingering warmth from yesterday's festival, her mind replaying every detail of the brief encounter. She couldn't stop thinking about him, his smile, the way his eyes lit up when he talked about his crafts, and the gentle humor in his voice. It was unusual, even unsettling, how quickly someone could make such an impression. After a few hesitant moments, she found herself reaching for her phone. There it was, a message from him. "Hi, Emma, it's Alex. I hope your morning is as bright as yesterday's sunset. Want to grab coffee later?" Her heart leapt. She typed back quickly, fingers trembling with anticipation. "Hi, Alex. I'd love that. How about 4 p.m. at the cafe near the park?" The response came almost immediately. "Perfect. See you there." As the day crawled forward, Emma felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. What would they talk about? Would he really like her, or was yesterday just a fleeting festival moment? She tried to calm herself, taking deep breaths and replaying their conversation at the booth. He had listened intently, laughed when she joked, and seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts. That was rare, she realized. By 3:50 p.m., Emma was standing outside the quaint cafe near the park, her scarf wrapped snugly around her neck. She spotted him immediately, Alex leaning casually against the entrance, hands in the pockets of his jacket. A smile spreading across his face the moment he saw her. "Hey, Emma," he said warmly as she approached. "You look nice." "Thanks," she replied, a soft blush creeping across her cheeks. You too. They ordered their drinks, a caramel latte for her, a black coffee for him, and found a quiet corner table. The cafe buzzed around them, but for Emma, it felt like a small, intimate bubble where only the two of them existed. So, Alex began, leaning back in his chair, I've been thinking about our little craft adventure yesterday. Do you often go to festivals like that? Emma laughed softly. Not really. I usually enjoy them from afar. But yesterday, it felt different. I don't know why different, he prompted, curious. Yeah, she admitted. Like, I wasn't just walking around. I actually connected. With you, I guess? He smiled, a flicker of warmth in his eyes. I felt it too. You have this energy that's hard to explain. Comfortable, genuine. It's rare. They talked about their lives, discovering shared interests, books, music, and even a quirky love for obscure documentaries. With every word, Emma felt more at ease, more herself. She realized she didn't have to impress him with stories or accomplishments. Being honest and present was enough. Hours passed unnoticed. The cafe began to empty, the late afternoon light casting long shadows on the wooden floor. Alex checked his watch reluctantly. I should probably head home, he said. But I don't want this to end. Emma smiled. Me neither. He reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. Can we do this again? Maybe tomorrow? Yes, she whispered, almost breathless. I'd like that. As they walked out into the crisp evening, Emma realized that first conversations could sometimes feel like second chances at life. Opportunities to connect with someone who might just change everything. And with Alex, she felt that subtle, thrilling possibility, the kind that makes your heart quietly insist, this is just the beginning. The day after their coffee meeting, Emma felt a nervous excitement coursing through her. Her thoughts kept drifting back to Alex, the way he laughed at her jokes, how his eyes seemed to linger on her when she spoke, and the comforting warmth of his presence. She had spent the morning meticulously choosing her outfit, wondering if she had overthought it, yet secretly hoping he would notice. When she arrived at the small, cozy park where they had agreed to meet, she spotted him immediately. He was waiting near the fountain, hands casually tucked into his jacket pockets, a grin lighting up his face as soon as he saw her. You made it, he called out, waving. Of course, she replied, smiling, though her stomach fluttered with nerves. Wouldn't miss it. They began walking along the cobblestone paths lined with orange and gold leaves. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of wet earth and autumn flowers, a reminder that fall was both fleeting and beautiful. Conversation flowed easily at first, lighthearted and playful, jokes about their mutual dislike for overly sugary pastries, teasing comments about his terrible sense of direction, and shared laughter over her penchant for taking way too many photos of everything. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the park, their conversation deepened. Emma found herself sharing stories she had rarely told anyone, her childhood dreams, moments of vulnerability, and the quiet fears she carried. Alex listened attentively, never interrupting, his expression open and encouraging. You're really brave, he said softly after she finished recounting a particularly embarrassing moment from her teenage years. Most people wouldn't admit that so easily. Emma felt a warmth spread through her chest. Maybe I just feel like I can be myself with you, she admitted. His smile was gentle, reassuring. That's how it should be. They stopped at a small ice cream stand, even though it was getting chilly, and shared a single cone, laughing when it began to drip faster than they could eat. They sat on a nearby bench, shoulders brushing, hearts racing in that subtle, intoxicating way that comes with new affection. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt completely at ease. There was no need to impress or hide parts of herself. She could just be. And he seemed to like her for it. She noticed small things about him too. The way his eyebrows furrowed when he was thinking, the warmth in his tone, and the ease with which he made her laugh. As the evening approached, the park began to empty, and the soft glow of street lamps illuminated the path ahead. Alex turned to her, his expression earnest. I know this is our first date, but I really like spending time with you. More than I expected, Emma's heart skipped. I feel the same. I can't explain it, but being with you feels right. He reached for her hand, fingers intertwining with hers in a tentative yet natural gesture. Can I see you again tomorrow? Yes, she whispered, her cheeks warm, her heart full. I'd love that. As they walked back toward the city streets, their fingers still entwined, Emma realized that first dates weren't just about discovering someone else. They were about discovering yourself. And in Alex's presence, she felt like she was beginning to understand what it truly meant to open her heart. In the days following their first date, Emma found herself reflecting on the whirlwind of emotions that Alex had stirred in her. For years, she had built careful walls around her heart, reluctant to trust anyone completely after past disappointments. Yet with him, everything felt different. Natural, effortless, and quietly exhilarating. She began noticing subtle shifts within herself. Mornings no longer felt ordinary. She would wake with a soft smile, thinking about the messages they had exchanged, or the sound of his laugh echoing in her memory. At work, her thoughts would drift to the way he had listened so attentively, how he had valued her perspective, and the small gestures that showed he genuinely cared. Yet along with the joy came an unexpected vulnerability. Emma questioned herself constantly. Was she moving too fast? Did she seem too eager? Was it normal to feel this intensely after knowing someone for only a few days? She realized that letting someone into her heart was a risk she had rarely allowed herself to take. And yet, the thought of being without his presence felt strangely unbearable. One evening, she sat by her bedroom window, watching the leaves swirl in the brisk autumn wind. Her journal lay open on her lap, and she found herself writing honestly, without censorship. I don't remember feeling this alive before, she scribbled. Being with him feels real. Scary, yes, but real. I can finally imagine myself letting go of the past and embracing what could be. Her mind wandered to memories of her previous relationships, the carefully curated versions of herself she had presented to impress others. She realized how exhausting it had been, how often she had hidden small truths about her personality, fearing judgment or rejection. With Alex, there was no need for masks or pretenses. She could laugh at her quirks, share her insecurities, and even stumble over her words. And he would respond with kindness, patience, and understanding. The next time they met, it became clear that this discovery wasn't just hers alone. Alex shared his own vulnerabilities, stories of past mistakes, and quiet fears about the future. They talked late into the evening, sitting on a park bench under the soft glow of lampposts, their words weaving a tapestry of connection. For the first time, Emma felt the intoxicating combination of being seen, understood, and accepted without conditions. As the weeks passed, their conversations deepened, spanning topics from childhood dreams to adult insecurities. Emma began to notice how naturally her feelings had grown. Subtle glances, lingering touches, and the comfort of knowing that someone genuinely cared for her well-being. She realized that the heart was capable of opening again, even after years of hesitation, and that love could arrive when least expected, carrying the power to reshape one's sense of self entirely. By the time autumn began to fade into early winter, Emma felt a quiet confidence within herself. She knew now that her connection with Alex was something rare, something worth nurturing. She no longer feared vulnerability. Instead, she embraced it as a strength. For the first time in her life, she understood that discovering herself and discovering love could happen simultaneously, each enriching the other in ways she had never imagined. As days turned into weeks, Emma and Alex's connection deepened in ways neither had anticipated. What had begun as a spark of curiosity at the autumn festival was now transforming into something far more profound. Every message, every call, every shared laugh was a thread, weaving them closer together, forming a tapestry of intimacy and trust. Emma noticed it first in the small moments. A text from Alex in the middle of the day, "Thinking of you," sent a thrill through her chest. Or the way he would listen, really listen, when she spoke about her work, her family, or her dreams. It wasn't just polite attention. It was a sincere curiosity, a desire to understand her fully. They spent weekends exploring the city, wandering through quiet streets, popping into little bookstores, and tasting pastries from cafes tucked into narrow alleys. During one such afternoon, Alex picked up a worn book from a shelf and smiled. "I remember reading this as a kid," he said. "It always reminded me that the world is bigger than we think." Emma looked at him, feeling a warmth bloom in her chest. "I love that you notice things like that. It's comforting, somehow." Even ordinary activities became extraordinary in each other's company. Grocery shopping turned into playful debates over which snacks to choose. Long walks in the park became opportunities to share stories from childhood, and late-night conversations about hopes, fears, and future dreams brought them even closer. Yet, with this closeness came vulnerability. Emma felt her heart expanding, aware that loving someone fully required trust and courage. She found herself reflecting on the past, the relationships that had faded, the walls she had built around her heart, and realized that all of it had prepared her for this. One chilly evening, they found themselves sitting on a bench overlooking a frozen pond. The city lights reflected in the ice, and snow began to drift gently down around them. Alex turned to her, eyes searching hers. "Emma," he said softly, "I feel like I've known you forever, even though it's only been a short time. There's something about you. I can't explain it, but it feels right." Her breath caught. She wanted to tell him the same thing, but words seemed insufficient. Instead, she reached for his hand, letting her fingers intertwine with his. The simple contact carried 1,000 unspoken emotions: trust, warmth, and a deepening affection that both thrilled and terrified her. From that day on, their feelings grew in intensity. Emma caught herself smiling at nothing in particular, only to realize it was a memory of Alex, his laugh, his touch, his presence. Every encounter reinforced a truth she could no longer ignore. She was falling in love, and it felt both exhilarating and grounding, like discovering a piece of herself she had never known existed. Even the quiet moments, like reading together in a cafe or sharing headphones during a walk, became sacred. Each smile, each glance, each shared secret added layers to a bond that neither time nor circumstance could easily diminish. And with every passing day, Emma knew that this love was not fleeting. It was growing, solidifying, and becoming an integral part of who she was. By the time the first snow blanketed the city, Emma realized she no longer feared the vulnerability of love. Instead, she embraced it, ready to let her heart open fully, trusting that Alex would be there to hold it gently, just as he always had. As the leaves gave way to the soft whites of early winter, Emma and Alex felt their connection growing stronger, but as with every meaningful relationship, challenges soon appeared, testing their bond. It began subtly. One evening, Alex seemed distant during their usual video call. His laughter was forced, and his eyes occasionally drifted away from the screen. Emma noticed, but hesitated to ask, not wanting to seem overbearing. Yet, inside, a knot of worry began to form. Finally, unable to hold back, she messaged him. "Hey, are you okay? You seem a little off tonight." There was a pause before the reply appeared. "I'm fine. Just tired. Don't worry about it." Emma frowned, feeling a pang of unease. It wasn't like him to hide his feelings, not when they had been so open with each other, as she tried to brush it off, telling herself it was just stress from work. But as the evening went on, the distance between them felt tangible, almost like a thin fog settling over their relationship. The next day, when they finally met in person, the tension became undeniable. They walked in silence through the quiet park, the crunch of snow underfoot the only sound. Emma's heart pounded as she tried to find the right words. "Alex, is something wrong?" she asked gently. He sighed, his breath forming small clouds in the cold air. "Emma, I guess I've been worrying about my family. Things at home have been complicated lately. I didn't want to bother you with it, but I can see now that avoiding it just made things worse." Emma stopped walking, turning to face him. "You never have to handle things alone. I want to be here for you, even when it's hard." He looked at her, vulnerability shining in his eyes. "I know, and I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm scared. Scared that if I show you all of it, the messy, complicated parts of my life, you might see me differently." Emma reached for his hand, squeezing it firmly. "I like you for who you are, Alex. Not for a perfect version of yourself, but for the real you. The flaws, the fears, the everything. That's what makes you, you." For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled not with distance but with understanding. The tension began to lift, replaced by a quiet acknowledgement that challenges were a part of any deep connection. They continued walking, this time side by side, the cold air feeling less harsh with their fingers intertwined. Emma realized that love wasn't just about laughter and easy moments. It was about facing the uncomfortable truths, supporting each other through doubts, and building trust even when it felt fragile. By the time they reached the edge of the park, the sun had set, casting a soft pink hue over the snowy landscape. Alex turned to her, eyes earnest. "Thank you, Emma. For understanding, for being patient. I don't want to lose this. Us. You won't," she whispered, her voice steady. "We'll face it together, whatever comes our way." That night, Emma went to bed with a renewed sense of clarity. Love, she realized, was not just the butterflies or the easy smiles. It was choosing someone every day, even in the moments of doubt, and trusting that together, they could navigate whatever challenges life placed before them. After navigating their first challenge, Emma and Alex found their bond strengthened in ways they hadn't anticipated. The tension of the previous weeks had melted into a deeper understanding of one another, a recognition that love required patience, empathy, and open communication. They began spending more intentional time together, exploring not just the city, but each other's worlds. On Saturday mornings, they visited local cafes, sipping steaming lattes while sharing favorite childhood memories. Emma loved hearing about Alex's summers spent exploring the countryside, and he cherished her stories of quiet mornings with her grandmother, baking cookies and reading old books. Every anecdote revealed layers of who they were, creating a sense of intimacy that felt both exhilarating and grounding. One chilly evening, they decided to attend a small art exhibit in the heart of the city. The gallery was quiet, the walls adorned with abstract paintings that seemed to whisper untold stories. Emma felt Alex's hand brush against hers tentatively before he intertwined their fingers. It was a simple gesture, yet it spoke volumes, a silent promise of trust and closeness. "Do you ever feel like art can express what words cannot?" Alex asked, his eyes scanning a particularly vivid painting of a stormy sea. Emma nodded, squeezing his hand. "Absolutely. Sometimes the emotions it evokes are stronger than any conversation. It's freeing." They wandered the gallery together, pausing at pieces that drew their attention. Each painting sparked a discussion, some lighthearted, others contemplative. Emma loved the way Alex's mind worked, how he observed details she often overlooked, and how effortlessly he made her see the world through a different lens. After the exhibit, they walked through the quiet streets, snow beginning to dust their coats. Alex paused beneath a street lamp, turning to her with a soft smile. "Emma, I feel like we're really starting to understand each other, not just on the surface, but deeper. I've never felt this before." Emma's heart swelled. "Me too. I think I've never felt so connected to someone so quickly. It's scary, but it feels right." He reached for her face gently, brushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm glad it's you, Emma. I want to keep growing closer, learning everything about you, even the parts that are messy or complicated." Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes, but they were happy tears, the kind born from feeling truly seen and accepted. "I want that too," she whispered, pressing her forehead to his. In the following weeks, their bond continued to deepen. They cooked together, danced awkwardly in her living room to favorite songs, and shared late-night talks under blankets with cups of cocoa warming their hands. Each moment, no matter how ordinary, became a cherished memory. Emma realized that love wasn't just about grand gestures or fleeting infatuation. It was in the quiet consistency, the small acts of attention, and the unwavering presence through both joy and uncertainty. With Alex, she felt that love wasn't just a feeling. It was a shared rhythm, a growing harmony that resonated in the spaces between them. By the time winter's chill settled firmly over the city, Emma knew that she and Alex were no longer just two people drawn together by chance. They were building something lasting, a connection rooted in trust, laughter, and the courage to be truly themselves. And with each passing day, she felt her heart opening wider, ready to embrace the love she had once only dared to imagine. Winter settled over the city, turning streets into glittering landscapes of frost and lamplight. For Emma and Alex, the season brought more than cold winds. It brought a series of meaningful moments that deepened their bond. It started with small traditions. On one weekend, they ventured to a nearby market adorned with twinkling lights and evergreen garlands. They sampled spiced cider, laughed over mismatched ornaments, and challenged each other to guess the flavors of different pastries. Emma felt a warm joy in the simplicity of it all. These small, shared experiences were becoming the foundation of something profound. Then came the holidays. Emma invited Alex to her family's home for Christmas, a nervous flutter accompanying her every thought. She had spent years protecting herself from judgment, unsure how her family would react to someone so new and significant. Yet, from the moment he arrived, he impressed her parents with his kindness, attentiveness, and easy charm. Her younger sister whispered later, "He seems perfect for you." Emma smiled, her heart swelling with quiet certainty. Alex, too, shared moments that revealed layers of his world. Emma met his closest friends at a cozy dinner, witnessing firsthand the loyalty and camaraderie that had shaped him. She saw his genuine warmth as he engaged with everyone, effortlessly balancing humor and sincerity. The experience made her feel not just accepted, but woven into the tapestry of his life in a meaningful way. Amid the festivities, there were moments of quiet intimacy. One snowy evening, they sat on the roof of her apartment building, wrapped in blankets and sipping hot chocolate. The city below twinkled like a sea of stars, and for a time it felt as if the world had slowed just for them. "Do you ever think about the future?" Alex asked softly, his arm draped over her shoulder. Emma rested her head against him, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "All the time," she admitted, "and I feel hopeful. With you, I can imagine things differently." Better, he kissed the top of her head, a gesture filled with reassurance. "I feel the same. Whatever comes next, I want to face it together." Through these moments, shared laughter, family gatherings, quiet nights under the stars, Emma realized that love wasn't merely a series of exciting events. It was the accumulation of countless meaningful experiences, small and large, that forged a lasting connection. Each smile, each touch, each word shared in sincerity became a thread in the intricate fabric of their relationship. By the end of winter, Emma and Alex had established a rhythm of life together that was both comforting and thrilling. They celebrated birthdays, navigated minor disagreements with patience, and made time for spontaneous adventures that kept the spark alive. In every experience, Emma recognized the extraordinary in the ordinary, understanding that these moments were not fleeting. They were the foundation of a love that had the potential to endure. And as the city prepared for the slow bloom of spring, Emma felt a quiet gratitude. For the chance encounter at a festival, for the vulnerability that had allowed her to be truly seen, and for the growing certainty that Alex was not just a chapter in her life, he was becoming its most meaningful story. Spring was slowly creeping into the city, painting the streets with soft shades of green and delicate blossoms. For Emma, the season felt like a mirror of her own heart, a quiet renewal, a time for reflection and clarity. Over the past months, her relationship with Alex had grown in depth and intensity, each shared experience revealing more about who they were and how they complemented each other. But with growth came questions. Emma found herself thinking more seriously about the future, her studies, career plans, family expectations, and the inevitable changes adulthood demanded. Could she commit to someone so profoundly while still pursuing her own path? And yet, every time she considered life without Alex, a hollow ache reminded her of just how essential he had become. One sunny afternoon, they met at the park where so many of their early memories had been created. The air was warm, carrying the faint fragrance of blooming flowers. Sitting on their favorite bench beneath a cherry blossom tree, Emma felt a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. "Alex," she began, her voice tentative, "I've been thinking a lot. About us. About everything." He turned to her, eyes filled with attentive curiosity. "I've been thinking about the same," he admitted. "It feels like we've been growing together for a long time, even though it hasn't been that long." Emma took a deep breath. "I know life can be unpredictable. I have goals, plans, and sometimes I worry about how our paths will fit together. But I also know that I don't want to imagine my future without you in it. I've realized that I want to be with you, fully, not just for now, but for whatever comes next." Alex's expression softened, a gentle smile curving his lips. "Emma, I feel the same. I've never been this sure about anything before. You make me want to be a better person, to face life honestly, and to build something meaningful together. I don't want to hold back anymore." There was a pause, heavy with anticipation, before they leaned toward each other, foreheads touching, sharing a quiet moment of understanding. Words were unnecessary. Their hearts had already spoken. "I think we're ready," Emma whispered, a tear slipping down her cheek. Ready to be fully us, together. Alex brushed it away gently, his touch warm and grounding. Yes, together, no matter what. From that day forward, their relationship took on a new depth. Decisions were made with mutual respect and shared vision. They planned weekends around adventures, balanced personal responsibilities, and continued to nurture the tender intimacy that had first drawn them together. Every challenge, every joy, and every quiet moment of connection reinforced the certainty that they were not just two people in love, they were partners in life. For Emma, this decision was transformative. It wasn't about being swept away by passion or fleeting romance. It was about choosing, every day, intentionally, to be with someone who understood her, respected her, and inspired her to grow. And as she walked hand in hand with Alex beneath the blossoming trees, she felt a profound sense of peace. Life with him would not always be easy, but it would be real, meaningful, and theirs. And in that realization, Emma discovered something even more powerful than love itself: the courage to trust her heart, embrace vulnerability, and step confidently into a shared future, hand in hand with the person who had become her home. Summer had arrived, and with it, the city seemed to breathe with life. Streets alive with laughter, flowers in full bloom, and sunlight pouring generously over every corner. For Emma and Alex, the season symbolized not just warmth, but a new beginning, the start of a chapter they had chosen to write together. Their mornings were filled with small, joyful routines. Emma would brew coffee while Alex unpacked the groceries they had picked together, each shared chore turning into a quiet moment of connection. They laughed over burnt toast, debated over which flowers to plant in the small balcony garden, and lingered over lingering breakfasts, the world outside their apartment feeling both vast and irrelevant. Weekends were devoted to exploration. Trips to the countryside, spontaneous visits to museums, and walks along the riverbank where they had shared so many firsts. Emma noticed how naturally they had become a team, anticipating each other's needs, balancing each other's strengths, and supporting one another in moments of uncertainty. One evening, after returning from a summer festival, they sat on their balcony, watching the city lights shimmer like a constellation below them. Alex draped his arm around Emma's shoulder, and she leaned into him, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart. "Do you ever stop and think about how far we've come?" he asked, voice soft. "From a random festival encounter to this." Emma smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the city. "All the time. It feels surreal, doesn't it? I never imagined someone could walk into my life and change it so completely." He pressed a gentle kiss to her temple. "I don't think it's about changing exactly. It's about growing together. Every step, every laugh, every challenge, it brought us here." They reminisced about their first meeting at the festival, the awkward yet enchanting conversations, their first coffee date, and the moments of vulnerability that had solidified their trust. Emma realized that it was these memories, both grand and small, that had woven the tapestry of their love. As the night deepened, they spoke of dreams for the future, plans for travel, aspirations for their careers, and even the quiet hope of starting a family one day. But above all, they spoke of commitment, of cherishing each other through the inevitable trials and triumphs of life. In that quiet intimacy, Emma understood a profound truth. Love was not merely passion or fleeting excitement. It was a shared life, built on trust, respect, laughter, and vulnerability. It was choosing someone not just in moments of joy, but also in moments of doubt, and finding courage in the knowledge that they would face the world together. As they sat beneath the stars, wrapped in a blanket, and the warmth of each other's presence, Emma felt a sense of completeness she had never known before. The journey from that first festival encounter at 19 to this moment had been unpredictable, filled with challenges and discoveries, yet perfectly aligned with the rhythm of their hearts. Alex turned to her, eyes bright. "Here's to us," he said softly. Emma smiled, resting her head against his shoulder. "To us," she echoed, her voice filled with certainty and love. And in that moment, beneath the summer sky and city lights, Emma knew that this was only the beginning. A new life awaited them, not defined by chance encounters or fleeting moments, but by the deliberate choice to grow, love, and live together, hand in hand, heart to heart. The future stretched ahead like an open road, and for the first time in her life, Emma felt truly ready to embrace it, with Alex by her side, forever entwined in the story they were writing together. Share your first love story. I'd love to read it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories.